counterbalance as a strike by university teachers enters day 22. By convention, public universities are to shut down after 21 days of no academic work. At the University of Ghana, students are packing out. Here's Manuel Kranting's reports.
It's the fourth week of that impasse between UTAG members and the government of Ghana. The lecturers are demanding better conditions of service. But government, on the other hand, says it is engaging. While this engagement continues, it's 4 weeks already with no academic activity on the various university campuses. The last time this happened was in 1995, when the various public universities in Ghana were shut down for close to a year. The same situation is staring us in the face again, begging to repeat itself. I've come to the University of Ghana to speak to some students who are contemplating and considering moving out of campus altogether up until when government settles the issues with UTAG. To my left are Ajubi strike. We're in the fourth week. What have you been doing?
As you know, we come to school for academic activities, but this is the situation where no academic activities going on at all. One could say, okay, you are in school with friends, so have group studies, but then we don't have course outlines, we don't have reading materials even. So what do we do? Most of my friends have gone home. Most of my friends are already at home. Most of my friends even come to school at all because they were like, what am I coming to do? And I agree with them. So me, for instance, if by the end of this week, nothing happens, I'm sure I'll just move home.
Well, let me bring in Ajubi into the conversation. Ajubi, just get a bit closer. Talk to me about what your own situation has been.
Since we came to school, it's only one lecturer, I think, who has sent us his course outline. The other courses have not sent us anything. Program a year abroad and then come back. Then maybe by the time I return to school, maybe things will be back on track, academic-wise. Because this is clearly a waste of time. We can't pay huge amounts of fees and hostel fees and you don't teach us. You just leave because of your condition. I understand them as teachers that, okay, you need a better pay because of your job. But the government should also think about us students because right now we've paid and we are ready to learn, but nothing is happening.
So who are you blaming? I hear you say, well, you agree that
to their rights, to demand their pay because you can't work and they are not giving you the right amount of money you need. So the government should listen to their cry and attend to them because I think it's the best thing they should be doing right now.
Do you agree with that assertion that government should listen to UTAG regardless of the fact that UTAG's persistent absence from classes is going to affect you?
I disagree, because if government does not respond to UTAG the way they want it, and they are able to come to an agreement and they say that, okay, come in later after a month, we'll get back to you. And what if they don't? And it will continue again and continue again. Next year, we'll still be seeing this. So they should just solve it now so that we, in the long term...
Leaving campus, are you?
For me, yes. My dad said I should get back home by Friday. If I don't get anything from the lecturers, probably I might get back because sending money and all, my dad is saying that I'm spending too much, looking at what he's seen in the news and all of that, yes.
And this situation is pretty much the same for a lot of your other colleagues. Let me bring in Abna into the conversation. Abna, people are, going home. Their parents, giving them pressure to come back home. Are your parents asking you to come back home?
Same pressure everywhere, especially regarding the finance involved because parents made an agreement with their wards that after every 2 weeks or after every month, I am going to send you this amount of money. But this is the case where you've been in school for about 3 weeks. You call home to ask for money and they tell you, what have you used the money for? After all, you're not learning. Because I was on campus simply because most of my colleagues who I'm in the same research group with for our final year proposal are on campus and then we all agree that we could work on our final year projects. But unfortunately for us, when we send our lecturer, messages with regards to our research, there's no response. And the message is loud and clear that we are on strike. And so I can't respond to your questions on your research as well. So I think the best decision at the moment, especially when parents have also decided not to give their wards money, is to go home.
In the Central Region, correspondent Richard Kojako reports some students have formed study groups to make up for lost time.
Here on the campus of the University of Cape Coast, the campus is completely deserted. Most of the students have left and they are home now. Others are contemplating leaving because fear that if they do not go home, they might completely spend every money that was given to them by their parent. For The university management, what they have done is to open the university's main library very early. The departmental library and the hall libraries have also been open. Some of the students have been utilizing this opportunity. They've been going there to read. Others are also exploring the option of forming groups. So others have actually formed groups, and they have sought the assistance of some of their seniors to assist them in going through some of the materials they will be using during this semester. For the freshmen and women on campus, their wish was that they would have tasted lecturing by now, because they have been saddled, or they have been accustomed to teaching in the senior high schools.
Yeah, so that's what I can say.
Campus is deserted. A lot of your guys are going home. Yes. Some have not even come at all. Yes. I mean, what are you contemplating doing?
Currently, we are forming a group studies. Yeah. We biomedical science students, we have a group study section in the group. So every day out we try to meet 2 hours or 3 hours. We start maybe the courses that we are studying, so that we took some slide from our seniors. Then they will teach us small, showing 1 or 2 things, so that you have to do before the lecture will come and teach us. Yeah, so we're hoping that you catch up with some small things, so that the lectures come, everything flow.
As I'm speaking to you, day in, day out, we are spending. And you came with a budget, you're actually affecting us. So with time, if the strike is not coming to an end, we'll surely go home. So we are appealing to government that they should listen to their concern and attend to them, so that they will come and continue with us.
The plea of the student here is that government should immediately, as a matter of necessity, sit down with the university lecturers and then talk about their issues, so that they would return to the classroom. From the University of Cape Coast campus, my name is Richard Kwejenyakon for Joy News.
Government says it is progressively building an educational system to leapfrog the inequality in the sector, which has created the unintended consequences of low productivity in schools. Handing over 150 vehicles, including 100 buses and 50 pickups, to taken by the administration to improve enrollment and increase access to quality education.
Well working and maintained throughout their life. Amen.
In a similar exercise in 2021, the Vice President handed over pickup trucks, buses and motorbikes to senior high schools and circuit supervisors in a bid to promote efficiency in the educational sector. Dr. Baumia, at the handing over ceremony on Monday, encouraged the head teachers to maintain the vehicles with the ultimate goal of training students who will actively participate in the transformation of the country.
It is well documented that the availability of good transportation, an efficient transportation system in our schools increases student enrollment and encourages many students to stay in school. Indeed, it has been said that a dependable transportation system in schools improves the safety of students and makes teachers and students more productive. Also, an efficient transportation system in schools is key to hastening the economic transformation and the development of our country as envisioned by the sector.
If your education system does not demonstrate quality, access, and relevance, it cannot change your fortunes. Other nations in the 21st century has transformed their fortunes because they transformed their education system. And this is the demonstration of the transformation. When the president said that in order to ensure that teaching and learning takes place very well in senior high schools, we should provide them means of transportation. It has been fulfilled. And let us thank
headmistresses of the various schools.
Member of Parliament for Mfansiman Ophelia Mensah Hayford has described as unfortunate how some parents force programs and courses on their children without considering their interests and talents. According to her, the practice is not only stifling the growth and development of their children alone, but affecting the development of the country's human resource base, as well as government's efforts to develop the skills and talents of children through its TVET programs. She's been speaking at the inauguration of an apprenticeship program at Salt Pond in the Central Region, from where Richard Kojonyako reports.
MP at the inauguration of the Salt Pond Apprenticeship Skills spearheaded by the Ernest Ejiu Foundation entreated parents not to force courses and programs against the will of their children. She indicated that not everyone was born to attain higher academic standing in society, but the interest and the passion of children in the acquisition of skills must be considered for the development of the individual and the building if such practices continue.
I cannot say we all are destined to be professors and educationists. In fact, we need the seamstress or the designer to design something good for us to look good. And that is why the government is introducing the TVET. I think some years back, we had all these in our schools. I know our skills. But here is the case, as we developed, we abandoned it and then took the culture of the Western. We all want to go to the universities, no. But government sat and then realized that no, we are losing our skills. And so he's introducing the TVET. And so I'll tell parents that we shouldn't force our children to be the doctors and to go and then study maths and the engineers and whatever. But some imbibed in them.
A member of the Council of State, Professor Atue Suman, entreated indigents of Salt Pond to turn their attention home to help develop and build the historic town of Salt Pond instead of sitting along the fringes and lamenting.
The government has a role to play in making sure that it creates the environment for development. But the inhabitants themselves and the leaders and people who have been privileged to be in certain positions also have responsibility to make sure that social come home. Most of what we see is that they live outside. We only see them when they are dead and they bring their bodies here.
Chief Executive Officer of the Ernest Ejiu Foundation, Ernest DeGraft Ejiu, appealed to the President to consider moving the National Founders Day celebration to Salt Pond, as the place holds a very important key in Ghana's political history.
We are calling on His Excellency the President, National Founders Day from Accra to Salt Pond. I believe these together will help with the local economy of Salt Pond. It could be that ours is tourism. You won't do a factory here, but do the celebration. Let the national celebration be here, so then that the people will feel motivated and hotels will come in. Food chains will set up.
Talented but needy residents of Salt Pond were set up for training under the apprenticeship and the skill acquisition scheme of the foundation. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kojonyako, Cape Coast.
Chairperson of the National Commission for Civic Education, Josephine Nkrumah, fears there could be political instability, government's inability to address the root cause, corruption. Speaking at a roundtable discussion on the theme Rethinking Ghana's Anti-Corruption Strategies, a decade trend analysis of the Corruption Perception Index in Ghana, the NCCE boss charged government to walk the talk in its quest to deal with the canker.
If the fundamental law is to the drawing board, and we don't have to go to the drawing board and say, hey, this thing's such a long process. We have to do it now. And I just want to remind all of us about what is going on in the sub-region. We've seen a recurrence of coups in West Africa, and we must not sit and think that it could not happen in Ghana. All the countries we've seen who are suffering coup d'etats. The frightening thing about it is that the coup leaders are being, what then is democracy? For the people, by the people, of the people. So if a coup leader comes and he's cheered on, is it democracy? Is it democratic? Some will say yes. Some will say maybe because you came by the means of some, perceived violence, it's not democracy. But I want that to cause us to think that there is a direct relationship between corruption, its effect on our democracy, and the imminent danger that lies ahead for us. And if we are sensitive enough and our ears are on the ground to hear what goes on in the sub-region, then, ladies and gentlemen,
in our last story, the overlord of the Dagbon, Yana Abukari, has commiserated with victims of last Saturday's fire at Abuabo Market in Tamale. He sent a delegation headed by the Nantona to ascertain the cause of the fire and meet with various stakeholders on how to prevent such occurrences in the future. Northern Regional Correspondent Martina Bugri has the rest of the story.
The fire service close to 3 hours to bring the fire under control. The dawn fire on Saturday destroyed several properties, including grains in the market. The chiefs were on a tour to inspect the extent of the traders' Dagbon, but the country as a whole. He said any reduction in the wealth of the people in the area is a reduction that affects the region.
This loss is a loss for Dagbon, loss of northern region, and loss of the country as a whole, as his grandfather said. Any reduction in the wealth of the people of Dagbon is a reduction of the wealth of people in Ghana. And so he's very, very much concerned and asked us to come and see the extent of the damage. We can see what we can do to actually ameliorate the pain and then the loss of those people involved, and also to forestall future occurrences of this fire outbreak, especially the wiring of the stores, and then also leaving gap for, in case such a thing happens, where the fire service can actually pass through, and also the water hydrants, to have them all open up, or else they to come and provide water for the fire service to do continuous work. So I think in a situation like this, it's not only for the fire service, so everybody, especially those who are supposed to provide the water for them to extinguish the fire. So he's appealing to government, appealing to all concerned to do all that we can actually to eliminate the pain of these people, and then also to prevent future occurrences of this fire outbreak.
The mayor of Tamale, Sule Salifu, who responded to the delegation, he said the assembly has taken steps to address some of the concerns raised by the traders.
When we got here this morning, we realized that there was no free flow of the fire service into the market. I've instructed the task force to take all the containers on the main stretch today. By 5 o'clock, I'll be here to inspect the place again to ensure that we don't know what will happen tomorrow. Maybe what we are witnessing today is a joke. What may happen tomorrow will be more than what we are seeing. So we want to take this step quickly to ensure that there's free flow. Again, we have inspected the water hydrants as chiefs talked about, and one of it is not working.
And that's it for the AM News. I am Apisa Sibidi. The AM show continues.